What I'm doing here, I'm taping up the panel. Righto. So what I'm doing here, sorry I've gone all quiet, I'm taping up ready for my panels. Okay, now it's pretty simple with panels. You just basically put tape where you don't want resin and paint it on and then pull it off. And you're left with these beautiful, these are going to be blue. It's going to look quite classic. nice actually. And then what I do after this, tomorrow I just give them a quick 180 and clean everything up, make sure there's no extra spillages or anything over the line, and then we just let's get a roll of tape, and then we just finish coat it, and then the board's done. I'm going to cut back the bead, but the board's going to be left natural. There's no cutting back the finish coat. So she's going to look like an old mal, and that's the whole idea of this model. So it looks like an old mal. Now, put this over here on the stand. It feels like an old mal. It's heavy like an old mal. The shape's like an old mal. Everything about this is to make it feel like an old mal. Simple as that. There's nothing more. If someone walks into where this board's going to be and sees it, we want them to, before they think it's a new made board this week, we want them to think, oh wow, that's a really good condition old mal. And that's what I strive for with these pigs. This is just to carry the extra bit that drifts over the rail. This all gets pulled off. I've already taped up the deck. So once this swells, I just flip it over and do the other side. All the work's in the taping up. This is what takes that extra bit of time. And yeah, so as you can see, it's there. Now I just go around the edge once just to make sure the tape's down flat, because we don't want the resin to get under the edge of the tape. That's pretty well enough. You don't have to go overboard. Now, I'm going to mix up a bit of blue, and I'm going to do a bit of an old looking blue, okay? I don't want it to be a modern, bright blue. I want it to have a bit of a older shade to it. So, I've got a bit of blue here. Where is it? There's a bit of blue. I'll whack a bit of white in first. Check the weight of this first. Sorry, I like to get you try and do your pigments pretty close to the right weight when you're doing this sort of thing. So, turn that on. Set that there. And we've got about 5 carat. Okay, 585. So I want to go about 7%. So that's about 58 grams. So I'm going to put, tear it again. 58 grams is 10%. So I'll put this in here. And what I'm trying to do here, there we go. So I've got it strong enough here. This will create so it's not see-through. Put this back. Now it's not going to take much blue to turn this to where I want it to be, but I want it to be like a light blue or a mid blue, but on the side of, I'll show you, I'll just stir it up. Watch this turn. I'll do that, I shouldn't double dip. There we go. cooking. Also, I don't want it to be super dark. I want it to be a nice lightish colour. And I'm just going to add a touch of black in here. I want it to dirty up a little bit. Sorry, why isn't that opening up? Is it taped? No. There it goes. Now I just add a touch of black. Stir that in. So I want to get it a bit dirty looking. Blue. Touch more black. There we go. It's just knocking the brightness out of it. That's what we want. And I'm going to add let's put a drop more in there. And then I'm going to add a touch more blue. And what this is going to do, this is going to create a nice looking antique-y looking blue. That's what we're trying to go for. We're trying to go for a colour that looks old. Not something that looks like it's been around for years. So I'll get a bit more blue into here. There we go. There we go. That looks good. I don't want a vibrant, new looking blue. See there, it looks a bit an old looking sort of blue. That's what we want. What that'll do, that'll make it look fan-bloody-tastic. I'm telling you. Now, what I'm going to have to do is stir that in there. Now I'm going to add the bit of wax. So I need 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's good. Now that makes it like filler resin, so to speak. So I'll stir that in. Nice dirty blue, so to speak. And what that does is it makes it look like an old colour. It makes it look like the paint's faded, or that's what we're trying to go for. We're not trying to go for a brand new. That's where a lot of people make a mistake when they make these old boards. They make the paint look like it's brand new. That's the last thing you want. You want it to look like it's 60 years old. So that's that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put what we call a sock over this and strain it. And that way I'm going to get any bits of pigment out of it or something that's not quite mixed right. Stay there. And what that'll do, it'll give me my 2 containers with the resin. I'll go through here. Now the trick I did was, because I made this nice and strong, I'm going to add a touch of resin into it. Not much, probably about 100 ml in each. It's just a little trick you do when you're mixing up stuff like that. You don't have to mix up the exact amount. Have the ability to add a bit of resin to it because I made the pigment nice and strong. There we go, that's good enough. Now, I'll just bring this over here, add a touch more resin just so I've got a good amount. There we go, touch in here, touch in there, there we go. Now, mix this together. Mix this one together. Now I'm just going to add a touch of styrene, a little squirt, just to thin it a touch more, so it's closer to a finished coat consistency. It'll settle quicker. There we go. Right, so now the next step, I'm going to get my brush out of, this is my brush I use for doing, what do you call it, these filler coats, but it's going to be like a finish coat, okay? So clean this brush. Now I'm going to mix up my hardener. Now I want this to be a hot mix, so it's got a bit of thing in it. So I'm going to put in, fill up my thing. Yeah, I'm going to do this a hot mix, so I'm going to put in 20 mils of hardener. So I want this to go off pretty quick. Clean that off. Beautiful. Now, I want 20 mils. So I want this to go off pretty quick. Now I'm going to paint this on quick, and hopefully it will come out spot on. It's not always guaranteed. Okay, so let's try this. So I'll put this on here. There we go. Like that. Back. Now I don't want to put too much on it. This is one of the things you have to be very careful of, not to overload it. Now, sorry, just got to get my blade. I think I've got a hair in there. I want to get rid of that straight away so once it starts settling. Yeah, there was one there. Because this is a shit brush, it's the only thing that fucks you over. See how this hair doesn't want to come out? Great. So I'll check over here. I'll just go over that one more time. Righto, that looks pretty darn good. Now I'll do this side. One of these times you don't want a lot of hairs coming out of your brush because it's not good. And I don't want there to be too much resin on here. This is the one time I do wipe my brush. Okay, totally different scenario. this. This is looking good. I'm checking for any hairs. Okay, touch wood. It's looking okay. Right. So far that's looking good. Now I'm going to clean my brush. A couple of separations there, but that's not bad. I'm going to clean my brush in here. That can sit there. Righto. Now, how am I looking? Now what I'm checking for here is any separations. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to drop a little dot in here. There was a little separation, just one there. Bloody hell, tiny little hair here. So I'll get that out. There we go, got that. Drop a little bit of resin on that because that's going to be sanded flat if there's a problem. Okay, that looks good. So it's one of those things you've got to check it quite quickly. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the center tape off first. Bear with us. Probably did that a bit wrong. I should have done see that one there. Just get rid of that. Get rid of that. There we go. Now I'm going to do this center. So I pull that up. I want to get this line really good on the first part. Okay? So that can sit there like that. This one here, same thing again. Undo this. Undo that. It's alright if you get a little bit of glue on the board because what happens is you end up picking it off or cleaning it up tomorrow or even today. Right, so I'll pull this up. You see I've got a nice clean line. Okay, now I just check where my resin's at. It's not gelled yet. I don't want to pull it up yet, but I want to pull it up soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take the excess off first. There we go. This is just all the excess that's dripping off. Okay. And I'll do that to this one as well. Leave that there. There we go. Pull that off. I don't worry about the corners, that gets cleaned up with a blade. I'll show you in a little while. Now just let me see where the resin's at. Okay, it's gelled. So now I want to pull this off. Okay. And I'll pull this one off. Beautiful. That little bit cleans up with the blade really easily. That blue looks great. That looks old and definitely looks like a old style colour from the late 50s. The blue. And that's the whole key to do on this, is picking a colour which looks, yeah, that looks beautifully old. Now, I'm going to clean up these couple of bits where I've touched it and so forth that are easy to clean up. Not the bits right on the end. I'll do that when it's hard, that little bit there of a blade. But just here, things like this, see that little bit there? You just wipe that off, get that clean, that little bit there. But that bit there I'm going to clean off with a blade tomorrow. Okay, it's not even a problem. See how the line's nice and straight? See there, it's perfect? That's because I pulled it off just on the right time. This part here, you just get the cloth, clean that bit off there, that bit off there. That little bit there, I'll do with a blade tomorrow. when it's hard. If you try and do that now, you'll smudge it, become a real pain in the ass. That's all right. Now, clean this up. So I'll use that blade again. Now, I'm just going to clean up the excess. So this part here, it's gone off. I'll leave that out here. That can go hard. It's looking good. We've done the panel off the lap a bit, so it highlights it a bit, but that looks beautiful. I'll do the one on the top in about half hour's time. But yeah, looking good. Happy with that. See how the line's nice and clean. I don't have to do anything else to this except a quick bit of 180 over it. And then when I finish coat it, it's all locked in. It's perfect. But that's a nice old looking blue, sort of a middy, dirty, old faded blue. So it looks nice. Real nice. And with the combination with the volan fin, okay, being that non-see-through thing, you can see through it, but it's not clear. So that combination of that and that, very nice. Okay, that'll do that for a little while. I'll just, what I'll do is